Hey guys, it's Godbars here, the self-proclaimed hip-hop historian, and this is the 79th episode of my series where I grab a vinyl from my collection, talk about why I love it, what influence it had, and what its place is in the grand scheme of hip-hop. So today we're talking about Compton MC The Game and his impressive debut, the documentary, which hit such an unprecedented level of success that sort of like 50 Cent, he hasn't really been able to match that first project in terms of quality and impact. I think the game has probably been a bit more consistent than 50 discography wise, but even though I'm not a giant fan of either of their antics, you do have to commend how they've both been able to stay relevant and successful about 20 years later. Obviously, 50 Cent is at a level that's almost incomparable when it comes to other rappers at that time, but the reason I bring him up isn't just because the Game and 50 have similarities in their music, it's because Game to an extent got his start as a member of G Unit. It's almost a bit funny looking back now at how tight he was with 50, Eminem, and Dr. Dre at the time, and then you fast forward to today, and a lot of modern casual fans may not even assume they ever worked together. It's kind of hard to take Game serious when he says how little Dre or M did for him and how he didn't need 50 when he not only is constantly shouting them all out on here, but in the case of 50 Cent and Dr. Dre, it's pretty undeniable that they had a big hand in this album's success. 50 has at least 4 features on here, and I'm pretty sure all of them either have him just doing the hook or he does the hook and a verse. That isn't even counting the tracks he had background vocals on, which I know I've noticed at least a couple of over the years. Then when it comes to Dre, he not just contributes numerous killer beats, but he executive produces the entire album along with 50. It kind of makes sense that there's parallels between the Game and 50 Cent because it's no secret that Dr. Dre was looking for a protege in Game to reenact Eminem's success mentoring 50. However, I can still enjoy this debut immensely when I give it the Kanye treatment of just focusing on the music as it was released in 2005 and not speculating on anything that happened in their personal lives or qualms after that point. When you do that and look at the documentary on its own merits, what you get is an objectively stellar group of songs with a rapper who undoubtedly knew what he was doing at the time. Either he handpicked most of the instrumentals here and has an amazing ear for beats, or he just got ridiculously lucky and every time a producer offered him a new beat, it was gold. Either way, the result speaks for itself because obviously plenty of underground and alternative hip hop was happening at the time, but when it comes to more popular contemporary rap, a lot of the music released in 2005 hasn't aged that well if you give it a spin today. However, you can't say that about the documentary, at least I wouldn't, because there's a number of beats that have gone down as all-time classic instrumentals, and probably a good 97% of the time Game is rapping his ass off. He had street credibility, but was also a talented lyricist who could fit in on tracks with rappers from New York just as easily as he could a fellow Compton rapper. This is most likely why he fit in with G Unit, at least for the short time he was a member, and despite their future differences, 50 and Game pretty much always delivered every time they did team up for a track. I think certain more casual fans convince themselves that Game must be whack on the mic just because they aren't a fan of his personality or the fact that he went at their favorite artists. To me, it's pretty hard to deny this dude's lyrical ability, even when 50 is contributing hooks that took the songs to a higher level commercially. Game is usually the one with the denser verses. The single biggest hit on the documentary also happens to give us some of my favorite lines off the entire project, with Game setting the mic on fire with "On the grill of my lowrider, guns on both sides right above the gold wires. I'll faux five 'em, kill a rapper on my song and really do it, that's the true meaning of a ghostwriter. 10 G's will take your daughter out of Air Forces. Believe you me, homie, I know all about losses. I'm from Compton, wear the wrong colors, be cautious. One phone call, have your body dumped in Marcy. I stay strapped like car seats, been banging since my little brother Rob got killed for his Barclays. I'm obviously not going to just read the entire thing, but Game keeps the quality high until the slick double entendre that ends his first verse, which is, I ain't had 50 cent when my grandmama died, now I'm going back to Cali with my Jacob on, see how time flies. Like I mentioned earlier, 50 and Game have multiple collaborations on here, but Game actually recruited plenty of other artists for guest appearances. These include Faith Evans, Marsha Ambrosius, Tony Yayo, Dion, Eminem, Nate Dogg, Mary J. Blige, and Busta Rhymes. There's also enough producers who worked on this thing to form a small army like Kanye West, High Tech, Buckwild, Cool and Dre, Danja, Focus, Eminem, Just Blaze, Needles, Scott Storch, Timbaland, as well as Havoc of Mobb Deep. And that still isn't even naming everyone. Through all these different styles of beats and featured artists, the game is free to lyrically cover an incredible amount of ground, from bringing the West back on the first song to describing how he felt when his child was born on the last track. It's easy for younger fans, especially Eminem stans, to completely ignore the game's contributions to the genre like they do with Lord Jamar, or really anyone that ever says anything bad about their beloved leader. If you've never given this album a listen because you don't like Game as a person, I heavily recommend giving it a try and just keeping in mind that all the things he's done or said that you may dislike more than likely happened after this LP was already completed. If you just listen objectively and look at his delivery, wordplay, variety, and most of all his prime selection of instrumentals, you'll understand why this debut is so often regarded as a classic. Speaking of, this classic has plenty of tracks I want to commend as honorable mentions, like How We Do, Higher, Church for Thugs, Put You on the Game, Runnin', We Ain't, Where I'm From, the title track, and Like Father, Like Son. My three favorite songs on here overall would have to be West Side Story, Dreams, and Hate It or Love It. Thank you for watching my 79th video. Next time we're going back to Chicago to talk about one of the most talented artists that they would produce in the 2000s, and no, it is not Kanye. So check for that upload, and if you enjoyed, be sure to like, subscribe, and let me know what your favorite songs off of this Compton classic are. Don't forget to have a great day, and I'll see you next time, okay? Alright.